So the intention is to start with a 3-week course on the Bhagavad Gita, and then we'll move on to some of the more prominent prayers from the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Okay? So these are two very important scriptures in Sanatana Dharma. Right? Whenever you ask anyone, do you have a Bhagavad Gita in the house? They will say yes. They have a Bhagavad Gita in the house, but do they open it up? Do they read it? Do they contemplate on the learnings? Very often we do not. We do not because we are very busy, right? We are very busy looking after our children, looking after our families, right? Focusing on our career, etc. But today, in today's class, we will actually learn that if you can somehow orchestrate your life in such a way that while focusing on your family, while focusing on your career, while focusing on what is very important to you in the material sense, if you can somehow take some time out to also focus on the person who gives all of these talents to us, then you will realize that, wow, I lived a very enriching life. You know, we sometimes feel sorry for people who have lived a nice, long, 80, 90-year-old life, and at the end of it, they're not sure what did I actually achieve in this material life. I achieved my kids, my career, but nothing, none of this actually comes with me. You know, Mr. Ambani, who everyone is speaking about today, right? Sadly, not even a single cent of his billions of wealth goes along with him into his next life. So the Bhagavad Gita is not about teaching us about the next life, no. It is teaching us about how we can orchestrate a life right now, mindfully, so that, you know, we feel positive about ourselves, we feel positive about the world, and we also leave, right, a nice legacy behind. Okay? So that's what, normally I conduct this over 12 lessons of 2 hours each, which is 24 hours in total. But today, or this time round, we are going to be squeezing this into a 3-week course, which is 6 hours. Essentially, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share with you the 54 most important lessons from the Bible. 54. How did we come up with 54? Somehow I was like curating it and it comes nicely to 54. Don't ask me how we do it. Okay? So before we actually start the class, hi Vidhu. Before we start the class, we normally like to seek the blessings of the universe, our teachers, etc. Because, you know, even a lame man can actually start walking. A dumb can become an eloquent speaker if we have the blessings of our teachers, our guru. Right? So normally before we start to do a Mangala Charan, you know that in your Bharatanatyam class, before the student starts, they will do a Mangala Charan also, right? So similarly, when we learn the scripture, we do a Mangala Charan. So you can recite with me, together with me. Om Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pandom Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Sri Guru Dinataranam. And the longer version is, I was born with all darkness, but my spiritual master gave me this knowledge which is actually opening up the doors. Doors for what? How I can actually live a more fulfilled life. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Sri Chaitanya Mahavistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kridamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhumayeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so Bhagavad Gita. What do you understand by the word Bhagavad Gita? What does Bhagavad Gita mean? Or what is Gita? Old Hindi movie. Gita. Song. Wonderful. So Bhagavad means, the Bhagavad Gita simply means the song emanating from the Supreme Lord. The song emanating from the Supreme Lord. That's it. We know that the entire Bhagavad Gita was actually spoken by Sri Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra some 5,000 years ago. Right? Exactly, I think it's 5137 years ago, in between two eclipses. Right? So there were two armies getting ready to fight the war. On one side was the army of the Pandavas, and on the other side was the army of the Kauravas. Wonderful, right? So they were all getting ready. I'm sorry, it's a little warm today. We have a fanless fan. I think Mataji next week try to arrange for some awesome fanless. The poor guy has been rotating since last year. Anyway, so we have two raging armies getting ready for the war, right? Why was this war required? Because all missions to settle it peacefully was not resulting in success, right? Even Sri Krishna went to Kauravas and told them, stop this because it's going to be a major massacre, right? All of you will be wiped out. And what did they do? Right? Duryodhana, he actually tried to capture Krishna. And just see, at that moment, Krishna actually showed his Vishwarup form. You know, you're messing with the wrong person. Despite that, he just had full blindness. You know, sometimes, right, we know this is wrong, but we just, no, we just put on our blinders. Similarly, that was the case with Duryodhana. And therefore, war was inevitable. War was inevitable. They decided to come to Kurukshetra because Kurukshetra is a very, very pure religious site. Lots of amazing spiritual activities were actually conducted millenniums of years ago. And therefore, that area was actually decided as the place for the war. Anyone been to Kurukshetra? It's about 120 kilometers maybe from Delhi. Very nice place. Uh, the Mughal Empire, they tried to. So there's this tree which is the witness to the Mahabharata war. Krishna actually spoke the Bhagavad Gita right in front of the tree. And the tree is still there. It's called the Jyoti Sar. Right? So the Aurangzeb, he tried to cut the tree off, but it's a banyan tree, so it just keeps on coming up. It just grew there. So you can actually go there, it's still there. So I won't get into the historical side of the Bhagavad Gita or the Mahabharata, but today we are just going to be focusing on what can we bring back into our lives. That's more important. I know it's a little warm, but just try to tolerate it because that's what life is. In the material world, it's all difficulties. We just have to tolerate it sometimes. All mothers, how much difficulty you went through while giving birth. You just have to tolerate it. Okay, so this is an amazing verse which gives you a solid glimpse of what the Bhagavad Gita is all about. Essentially, Adi Shankaracharya, he wrote the Gita Mahatmya. And in one of the verses, he explains that if you take the cow to represent all of the Vedic scriptures, Sarva Upanishadam, alright, all of the scriptures, if they are represented by the cow, essentially what Krishna is doing is, Krishna is distilling all of the essence from all of the scriptures. Alright, Krishna is distilling it and offering it to Arjuna. Right? So the analogy is as follows. The cow represents all of the scriptures. Krishna represents the small little coward boy over here. And the Bhagavad Gita is the milk which is emanating from the udder of the entire scripture. And it is being fed to the calf Arjuna. Okay? So why Bhagavad Gita? Because it's the essence. Right? You can go to all the Upanishads, you can go to all the Puranas, you can go to the four Vedas, but you will realize that in this 40-minute conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, he's giving Arjuna the essence. The essence. Okay. So a 2-minute summary of the Bhagavad Gita is as follows. If anyone asks you, okay, you have been going for this course, what did you learn? There are just 5 major topics from the Bhagavad Gita. Number 1, okay, it is about us. Who are we? Number 2, where are we living? So we are living entities living in the material world, and we are performing activities of our karma, right? Our activities. And this is all happening in the jurisdiction of time. Though we actually belong to the spiritual world with God. That is all the Bhagavad Gita is all about. We as living entities, what are we doing? We are doing lots of activities in this material world under the jurisdiction of time. But actually, we have forgotten our relationship with the Supreme Lord. Okay. So if you go further into the scriptures, it's explained that all of us were actually in the spiritual world, serving Ram, Vishnu, or Krishna, depending on how you look at the spiritual Supreme Person. We were all in the spiritual world. We were serving Him. But there reached a point in time where we felt that only Lord is enjoying. What about ourselves? Can we separately also enjoy from Him? And that's the reason why the Lord created this material world. So you have the spiritual world where we were all there, but we wanted to enjoy separately from the Lord. The Lord created this material world. And He's now telling us, enjoy as much as you want. When you are tired, when you look up to me, I will then bring you. Right? I've simplified it a little bit. In the material world, what's going to happen is we will, we are born. We'll get older, and then we will leave this physical body and get into another body. It just goes on and on and on until we reach a certain stage where we realize, what are we doing? It's like going to a horse race. The poor horse is just galloping around, race after race after race, going round and round. And one fine day, the guy says, "What am I doing? Aimlessly, I'm living, going round and round and round." And he stops. So until we reach that point in time, we will just remain in this material. In the Bhagavatam, we will learn a little bit more, but for the time being, this is the 2-minute summary. Okay? So why are we here, if I ask you? Because we wanted to enjoy independently from the Supreme Lord. Okay? And therefore, the Lord created this material world. The qualities of the material world is firstly, it's temporary. It's dukhalayam asastvatam, meaning that it is a place of miseries. Just because people staying around in Tato have got big houses, great jobs, etc., does not mean that there is no misery in the material. Today we are in Singapore, everything is nicely orchestrated for us. What if Pradeep Kumar, in my next life, I'm born in Palestine? Anything can happen. So, or at one point in time, it was Addis Ababa, all of these places where there's so much of difficulties. So we need to understand that just because we have a good life today doesn't mean this is going to be like this always. We have a solid life because of our karma. Right? The moment we exhaust all of this karma, then we will come to a neutral point. So this realization is very, very important. So now we are going to the 54 key lessons. If you have any questions, just stop me immediately. Don't have to wait until the end of the class. Okay? Good. So number one, first and foremost, we are all running. Right? We are all running. Waking up early in the morning at 6 o'clock, getting our breakfast ready for the family, putting on our office clothes, going, taking a bus or MRT to work in the office until 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, come back home, tired, have dinner, the cycle goes on and on and on. You're all good souls. But those who are like my colleagues, then Friday night is drinking night, Saturday night, the whole day they will be nursing their hangover, and then Sunday, they do not know what to do. Alright? So that is the meaning of existing. You do not know what is the goal in life. But living means you have a purpose. You have a purpose. You know what the ultimate goal of life is. That is the meaning of existing versus living. When you ask anyone in India, how are you? Chal raha hai. Chal raha hai means existing. Just going on. I'm like, it's just going on. Right? Living means you know there is a purpose. It's all about, for us, it's all hurry. And then, when the kids are sitting for PSLE, we worry. O levels worry more. A levels even more worry. Children not getting married, that's even a bigger worry. Right? And then when we are too old, then it's sorry. And we are all searching for happiness. But you know what's the reality? Happiness is temporary. Material happiness is temporary. It will come. It will also go. It may come, but it does not come in enough dosages. For example, you buy a beautiful house, Neha. Right? You bought a nice house, nicely decorated, etc. That peak of excitement is now over. That excitement, that happiness which was there while you were renovating the house, getting ready, it just goes on. Right? So that's what material happiness is. It's fleeting happiness. In contrast, Krishna explained that once you are in spiritual happiness, you will realize that happiness is actually a mindset. Research today is actually showing there's a HBR article, January, February 2024. which explains that you can actually activate happiness in your heart by telling yourself that I'm actually happy. Manifestation in some ways, yeah. Alright? So, yeah, we are searching for happiness, but what kind of happiness are we searching for? Let's not forget, when can we take a time out? You know, now all of you are taking a time out. You know, when Arjuna took a time out, in the midst of a war, can you imagine? The war is about to start and he's telling Krishna, I want to take a time out. I do not know why I'm here. You know, killing my relatives. I will be incurring so much of sins. I'm going to be killing my own guru. Vishwacharya, my guru. Dronacharya, my guru. My brothers. I know they have done 101 crazy atrocities against me. My brothers, our wives. Done so much of crazy things. But still, I should not kill them. I'd rather just leave this entire battlefield and just retire in the Himalayas. What's the use of having a kingdom which is tainted with the blood of my gurus and my relatives? What's the use? I'd rather just live happily as a pauper in the Himalayas. Right? He said, I will not fight. So his Gandirva vow, he just let it go and he said, I will not fight. His hands were shivering. He is the greatest of all warriors. At that point in time, his hands were shivering. Right? Therefore, we can actually take a time out any time. Arjuna took a time out exactly at the start of the war. Right? So when we take a time out, don't just take a time out to relax now. We need to get inspired. Inspired by what? Inspired by scriptures. Because the scriptures will explain to us how to live a life through storytelling. Because how do you know who the father of a child is? You can do 101 DNA tests. But the easiest way, just ask the mother. Isn't it? Just ask the mother. Who is the father? Similarly, to know our Supreme Father, right? You just ask the mother. Who is the mother? The scriptures are the mother. Okay? So the scriptures are the mother. We just ask the mother. So the inspiration can come from the scriptures. It can come from a guru, right? Today there are, people say every street corner you may find a guru, but you need to check on the authenticity of a guru also. Ensure it's coming in a, yeah. So that there are a lot of ways to ensure that you are in the right path. Okay. So the first thing which Krishna now explains to Arjuna is, so Arjuna has poured out his whole confusion to Krishna. This is all happening in chapter 1 of the Bhagavad Gita. Does Krishna stop him immediately? Krishna does not stop him. You realize that Krishna hardly speaks in the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So that is the quality of a coach. That is the quality of a parent. When a child is like, coming to you with 101 difficulties, etc., is facing, your role is to find out more and not to stop him. What Krishna could have done is, I'm God. Let me tell you, you just fight. Alright, I can already see what is going to happen. I've already killed all of them. Krishna could have said all of that. He just wanted Arjuna to download all of this to him. That's what we learn in coaching also. Whenever someone comes to you, you just hear, okay, this is what I feel from you. I can feel that you are, you are not comfortable. I can feel the stress in you. Because when the other party feels that you are listening, it gives them comfort and they will open up more and more and more. That's one salient feature which I learned from chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita. He's God. He could have told Arjuna, just shut up. Just fight. Just fight. So once Arjuna has given the entire download, then Krishna comes and counsels him. Krishna tells him that all these relatives you are crying for right now, you know that they are just spirit souls. That doesn't mean it gives us the right to kill someone. Okay. No. Krishna is explaining to him in such a way for him to. So Krishna explains in a few levels. Krishna is telling him that know that what you are killing is you are just killing the body. The soul is permanent. There was never a time when the soul of an individual did not exist, and there will never be a time when the soul of an individual will cease to exist. It's hard for us in the material conception of life to think it's never a time, but it always starts with a zero, right? In the spiritual world, it can be timeless. So Krishna is saying all of us have been around since time immemorial, and we will always be around in time. In the Abrahamic religions, this whole concept of reincarnation has been right. Sanatana Dharma is there. It explains that this is not our final life. We will come back again and again and again. Right? So Krishna is saying there was never a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all of these things, nor in the future shall anyone cease to be. For a soul there is neither birth nor death, and nor having once been, he will ever cease to be. The soul is unborn, it's eternal, and it's ever existing. Okay? So even when you kill them, know that actually they are just spirit souls. So Krishna now is giving him the philosophy, starting to give him the philosophy. But towards the end of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna will tell him, I already killed all of them. You just become an instrument. If you become an instrument and you fight the war, you will gain the glory. But if you refuse to fight, know that they will still die because I have already killed them. So you decide whether you want to become an instrument in my plan or not. Right? So, for example, we may build temples, we may do this, we may become the president of so and so association. It's important for us to always tell ourselves, I'm just an instrument in the Lord's plan. The Lord has done everything. Just an instrument. Right? For example, when you play the harmonium, right? Or you are a doctor, right? When you do a surgical procedure, everything goes well. Do they come and say, wow, we must congratulate the surgical instrument, or will they come and congratulate you? They'll come and congratulate you, right? Similarly, when you play the harmonium, do they come to the harmonium and say, oh, you did a good job? No, the person who plays this. Similarly, all the talent given to us, the abilities given to us, are given by the Supreme Lord. And therefore, just like the talent is given by the Supreme Lord to us, should we then be privy to the congratulations, or should that gratitude be going to the Lord? The gratitude should actually go to the Lord. It's a paradigm shift, right? Think about it. Everything comes from the Lord. We are just using this. If we use this in His service, it is spiritual. If we use this in a material work, then it is material. Okay? Today there's a lot of discussion on what is religious, what is spiritual. You ask someone, do you have religion? No, I'm a spiritual. I only believe in spirituality. But when you ask them for more, they cannot explain. Right? So that's the first thing. Okay? I am not this temporary body. Who am I? I am a spirit soul. Exactly. Right? So, look at this amazing picture over here. You see a nice parrot, a nice lady, and the parrot is caged in a nice gold cage, right? What she does is every day she polishes the cage. She polishes the cage. She forgets to feed the bird. After a few days, the poor bird dies. Right? Because you're not feeding the essence which is in that particular cage. That's exactly what we are doing. We are so bothered about our cage, our body, right? We put ourselves nice perfume, makeup, nice clothes, etc. But have we taken care of our soul? It's so important. We need to take care of. What's the baby? Oh, he's gone. Okay. I thought he was doing somebody else. How old is he? 3 years old? 4 plus. All right. So we are taking care of our body, but we need to take care of the soul. Now let's discuss amongst ourselves. How do you take care of the soul? How? Okay, never mind. Just guess. Just put up your hand. Yes. Exactly. Prayers. Wonderful. What else? Bhakti. Yes. Devotion. That is the ultimate. Right? Bhakti simply means serving the Lord without any expectation. Right? That is the meaning of bhakti. So, is there anything wrong? I'm praying to the Lord because I want my daughter to do well in this.
Like I have been business with God. To make my daughter students have to do the two something. It's like a business. We are not thinking about the spiritual perspective. We are only thinking about the business perspective.
What do you think? That's the right answer. Yes, ma'am.
I think there's two sides of the coin. So I agree with what brother said back there that, you say, okay, God, if this goes well, then I'll do this Sharaba, this Sharaba. That's definitely business. But if you're praying to the Lord, for example, your kid has an exam, you're hoping they do well, it kind of goes back to what you just said, where Krishna listened to Arjuna. So where do we download? And so that's our conversation with the Lord to download, is where else do we go?
Wonderful. Both answers are correct. Right? So, number one, if we get into a transaction with the Lord, it's like treating Him as a celestial butler. Right? You help me, I'll do this for you, O Lord. But we need to remember that actually everything comes from Him. Right? There's a nice saying in Sikhism that Tera de Tera, everything is yours. I'm just using your stuff in your own service. My father was a Sikh. So, that's correct. But what do you say, Mataji? Sorry, I call you all Mataji, right? Sister is a little too Western. In the lineage I come from, the men are called Prabhus. So, what you said is exactly true. If I don't ask from Him, who do I ask from? If I don't ask from Him, then I think I can achieve it by myself. When I'm asking from Him, it's also me telling Him that, Lord, I got nowhere else to go to. Right? Just like Draupadi, she thought the husbands could protect her. She thought, Bhishma, the grandfather, will protect her. And finally, she also tried to help herself. And then she just gave up. She said, Oh, Krishna, only you can help me. Right? So it's coming to your point that I'm also surrendering to you. But you know what? Even if I treat the Lord as a celestial butler, it's okay. Bhagavatam, later on we will learn. Krishna is saying that even if you come to me with an expectation to fulfill your desire, it's okay. Because when you do it again and again and again, you are spiritualizing your consciousness. Right? You are spiritualizing your consciousness until it reaches a certain stage. Like Dhruva Maharaj, he wanted a kingdom bigger than his father, bigger than Brahmaji, because his stepmother had insulted him. Dhruva, a 5-year-old boy, was so angry. He said, "No, I will prove to my father, I will prove to my mother, my mother-in-law." Right? The Lord finally came and blessed him and asked him, "What do you want?" And you know what he said? 5-year-old boy said, "I was asking for broken pieces of glass when I realized that the Lord can actually give me a jewel in His presence." That's what bhakti is all about. So nothing wrong in asking the Lord. We will reach a stage where we will become purified and we will ask, we'll tell that, "Oh Lord, even if I don't get this, no, it's okay. Because I know you have my best interests." So the prayer which we should have is, "Lord, if you so desire." Just change the mindset. "No, oh Lord, if you so desire." I wanted to become a pilot. Lord, if you so desire. Put it under Krishna. I didn't get it. Why? Because He had bigger plans for me. So we just need to have faith that whatever the Lord does will be good. It might be full of beauty. Let's not forget, the Pandavas, Queen Kunti, they went through so much of difficulties, right? But they had that faith. Mataji, please come and help us. Okay. So sorry, I got a little carried away. Right? So remember, nothing wrong in asking from the Lord, but it just reaches a certain stage where we become purified. Yes. So that's the highest level. That's the highest level. The highest level of spiritual consciousness is when you have so much faith in the Lord, you are totally sold to the Lord, then you know He will orchestrate your life. I don't even have to ask Him. Is He not giving me the oxygen to breathe, the water to drink? That's the highest stage. And we should all come to that stage of full faith in the Lord. Well done. So just as the bird is trapped in the cage, the soul is trapped in the body. Right? The body is made of all these 5 elements: earth, air, water, ether, and fire. Fire is the gastric juices. You know what's the value of our body? Sneha, remember? It's like $10 US. The body is only worth $10 US, but we have so much of ego. I did this, I did that. So this is what happens to us when we leave the body, right? So a child is born, child grows up, the concept of reincarnation. Child becomes nice youth, proper adult, and then he starts aging, right? Dies. Then how is it that the person, that soul, can either go back to the spiritual world or continue as another human being or maybe continue as a cockroach? How? Very scientific, very nicely explained in the scriptures. Take a guess. Huh? Karma, wonderful, right? And Krishna also explains in chapter number 8. Essentially, whatever state of consciousness we are in at the time of death, that will actually carry us to the next point. So this is how it works, right? If at the end of my right, so this is how it works. At the end of our lives, our entire life will be fast forwarded like a videotape. The entire life will just come in front of us, and that places us into a summarized consciousness. if that consciousness is totally spiritual, where you have always been thinking about serving the Supreme Lord in the nuance of bhakti, then we don't have to come back to this material world. If we have done great activities, setting up charitable organizations, etc., serving others, etc., engaging in sound bhakti but have not perfected it, then we will come back as humans. But if we spend our entire days just sleeping like a pig, right, or always so much into meat consumption, etc., then that consciousness will get us into the lower form of life, like an animal. So this is very nicely explained in Bhagavad Gita. We will go into this. Now the question is, yes.
I think in Srimad Bhagavatam also there's a story of Bharata, where he about the deer, and he becomes born as a deer, but he still remembers God, and the next birth will become born as a human again.
Thank you. That's one of the stories we will be covering. Right? So now, let's say, right, Miss Janani has been orchestrating her life in total bhakti. Every time she's waking up for Mangalarti, she's doing the right service. She's got a righteous character. She works in a nice, righteous job, right? She's always having the best interests of others, doing all the right thing at the same time, engaging in the right Sanatan Dharma activities. But 2 weeks before she dies, she falls into a coma. Proactively, she cannot get into a consciousness.
I think we will get into it. Because we are not going to continue.
Exactly. In the Varaha Purana, it's explained that even if my devotee, due to difficulties at the time of departure, even if he or she cannot remember me, I will still come with this person.
So it's not prior to the coma state of consciousness prior to
It's when the soul is leaving the body.
regardless of whether it's conscious, I mean, early sense of consciousness.
So what can we do as devotees of the Lord? When someone is really sick, visit them, sing kirtan, bhajan to them, give them prasad, etc. because it elevates their consciousness. I'll tell you a real story. So someone told me, one of my students, the mother was in a state of coma for the last 8 days. Sorry, 8 days, yeah. So they told me, why don't you just come and chant the Mahamantra? So my wife and I, after a function, we decided to go. We went to the room. The family was all there, and we just chanted. I said, "Can I put my Tulsi mala on your mother?" Tulsi. When you wear Tulsi, Yamaraj will not come. That's what the scriptures explain also. So I said, I'll take out my Tulsi mala, I put it on her, and I started chanting to her, into her ears. And I told all the family members, what are you all sitting down for? Not a drama. Why don't you all also chant? I tell you, I was holding her hand, and suddenly and the doctors came, and the doctor said, no, she's not going yet, still got some time. I promise you, within 2 minutes of the doctor leaving, I was holding her hand, I felt a jerk in her hand. She left the body. So maybe she was waiting for devotees to come and actually sing to her the Mahamantra. Because we know in science that the last organ to actually die off is the sense of hearing. The person can still hear what's happening. And of course, when you are singing spiritual mantras, the entire atmosphere is spiritualized. And there was one more case, another of my Bhagavad Gita student. She's a Catholic. Right? So she comes for my classes. And she said, my father is, again in a coma. Can you just come and pray? I know that this worked for this lady. Please come. So my wife and I, we went, and then the family was so angry. Yeah, Catholics, how can you call the Indians to come over? They said, you will walk away. So they walked out. My friend told me, my student told me, you just come, you don't bother about it. So we started chanting, chanting, chanting. Lo and behold, the man who was in a coma shouted out, Rama, Rama. I was shocked, this guy is in a coma, how can he shout out Rama? And then he died after 1 month. He passed away. And the doctor told me, before we became Catholics, my father used to read the Ramayana to us every day. My first mother passed away, and therefore he married this Catholic lady, and we all became Catholics. But you see, he would have forgotten the Lord, but the Lord did not forget him. You see, so these are all subtle sciences. We will only begin to appreciate it if we go deep into it. If you just touch and go, then we will not be able to appreciate it. These are two instances which gave me so much of confidence about the Bible, about spirituality, about God. To be honest, and they became, these two ladies became very nice devotees of the Lord. Okay, so this is what happens to us. So, let's have a quick quiz time. What's the time? Okay, shall we take a quick break? Yeah, there's some tea. Sir, I need some water also. So let's have some tea. We like sir. Take a 5 minute break. Let's get some water. Okay, so how many souls do we have? One. One. Three. One. Two. Why two? Yeah, why? No. And if you came for the class last year, you remember how many souls do we have? Three. Where you got the third one from? That's the three forms of love. See how she's trying to hug you. Camouflage herself. Two, huh? Okay. Actually, we only have two, but these are not the same. Okay? One is our individual spirit soul, and the other soul is the super soul of Paramatma. Okay? So there are two spiritual bodies in our physical material body. There are two. One is the spirit soul. The spirit soul, if you pluck one piece of one hair, one strand of hair, it is the tip of the hair you divide into 10,000 parts. That is the size of the soul. It is so tiny, but it's giving entire consciousness to the body. That is the Atma. The Atma cannot be cut, cannot be wet, cannot be soiled. It is pure consciousness. Next to the Atma is Paramatma, or Antaryami, or Super Soul, which is the Supreme Lord. Okay? So there are two birds. One bird is eating the fruits, and the other bird is just watching. When will the other bird watch me? Lifetime after lifetime, I am always accompanying that spirit soul. But he doesn't want to see me. And so there are two souls. But of course, sometimes we may have some worms, others, each of them also have a soul. So we might have many, many souls in our body. Okay? So, this bird is eating the fruits. That is our individual soul, our Atma. And this is the Paramatma. Paramatma is always accompanying the spirit soul. waiting. When are you going to see me? Now, why Paramatma? Paramatma is one form of the Supreme Lord. The Lord has three forms, as what Vidu said earlier. Right? Three forms. Number one, some spiritual organizations believe in the Brahman effulgence. Right? They don't believe in the personal God. They only believe in the energy. Right? For example, the Sikhs, they believe in Nirankar, energy of the Lord. Buddhist also is the energy of the Lord. Right? Islam also, I think, is just the energy of the Lord. But we go beyond to explain that actually the Lord is a person. Right? We call this person Bhagavan. Bhagavan, the energy emanating from him, that is the Brahman effulgence, the brightness which is coming out from his body. At the same time, he has also expanded himself as Paramatma in every living entity. Every atom has a Paramatma. Even a cockroach, a worm, has Paramatma, has Atma. Okay, Atma. So the Lord is in every living entity. The moment you begin to see someone as she's a spirit soul, this Caucasian is also a spirit soul, this Chinese is also a spirit soul, then you begin to see that actually we are all brothers and sisters. You see, that is why when you begin to, Bhagavad Gita is explaining, see everyone as a spirit soul. Know that you are just a spirit soul. Bhagavan simply means, Bhag means that vibhuti, that opulence which is there in this supreme person. You can call him Ram, you can call him Krishna, you can call him Vishnu. We will not go into all of these avatars. They are all the same. Okay? For us, it's all the same. So, Bhagavan, because Bhag means the Lord has six opulences. He has all wealth. Everything belongs to him. He has all fame. He has all beauty. He's all knowledgeable. At the same time, he has all the strength. Despite having all of this, he's totally renounced. Like a CEO, he has given the responsibility to all the devatas to carry out. That's the meaning of it. Okay. So now let's come back to our body. What does Bhagavad Gita says? Now you know the soul is eternal. It's full of knowledge about the Lord, but it's all covered up. Right? And it's supposed to be in total bliss. But why is it I don't feel blissful? The definition of Atma is Sat Chit Ananda. Sat means it's eternal. Chit means it's full of the knowledge. Ananda means bliss. It's supposed to be full of bliss, full of knowledge, but I cannot feel it. Why?
Layers.
Exactly. It's because of the layers and layers. The mind, the intelligence, and the ego is blocking us from really perceiving the soul. Why the mind? Because the mind can be the best servant or the worst master, or whichever way. The mind can control us. You know, the for example, I'm passing by one of the shops outside or one of the bars outside, etc. The mind is telling us, okay, Saturday only, it's good. It's all right. Tomorrow you can be a good boy. The mind is telling me, today you can have chicken with chicken or whatever. Tomorrow you become vegetarian again. Kali Yoga, Kali, tomorrow you will see. Right? So that's what the mind is cheating us, the mind is telling us. There was once I went to India. I had these green kachoris which were full of coconut. Very nice and very kachoris. With beans and all that. I had one, I had two, wow. I had three, it was so good. The mind said, take another few more. No, it's okay. Singapore, you won't get this. I went for 4, 5, the mind said, tomorrow is a flight back. 7, 8, I think I went for 9 kachoris. When I went back to the hotel room, I was on seat number 0 the whole night. Seat number 0 is the toilet. Okay. Then the mind told me, you are a rascal, you are a fool, you are greedy. The same mind which was telling me, have another one or two more, is now scolding me. Same mind. So, how do you control the mind? Very difficult. It can be controlled. And you know what? This mind, the impressions, are like the layers of cabbage on our soul. The soul is like a diamond, right? Just imagine diamond. But what has happened is the diamond has become soiled with all our lifetimes and lifetimes of impressions. Scolding my mother, fighting with my father, breaking ties with my sisters and brothers, trying to cheat the company with my T&E. All these bad things are all combining, and therefore we do not see our spiritual nature. Right? But the moment we can activate the intelligence and spiritualize the intelligence by chanting the Lord's name, by kirtan, by reading the scriptures, by being in the association of others, by going to the temple, by waking up and doing Mangal Arati, all of this is spiritualizing your intelligence, and slowly all this mud will be removed from our soul. Then you will see that, wow, why is it I'm feeling so good? She's glowing so much of, because she has been doing this again and again. All the bhajans, all the service. So you will feel that all of these layers will be removed, like cabbage, you know. You want to use onion. The Vaishnavas don't take onion. The cabbage, layer by layer, all of this dust will be removed from our mind. Okay? So essentially what we need to do is, we need to spiritualize our intelligence. And the intelligence will then be the discerning factor on what I should do and what I should not do. Right? For example, instead of doing something which is worthwhile with my life, I can wake up in the morning, the whole night I can binge watch Netflix. I got children. So in different phases of life, you need to appreciate every one of those things. That was also a tough one with my parents. Alright? So that once you have spiritualized your intelligence, the intelligence is able to tell you what to do and what not to do. But if we have not spiritualized it, then you cannot spiritualize your mind. The mind is like the reins of the horses, and the horses are like the senses. Alright? The chariot driver is the intelligence. If the chariot driver is spiritualized, he can then control the reins, he can control the mind, and then the senses will go to the right places. But if the chariot driver is not spiritualized, he has no control over the reins, no. Then the senses will go everywhere. This is from the Katha Upanishad. Very nicely explained. Okay? And the false ego is that ego which we have. It's because of me that, the organization is running. It's because of me that you all are getting the food today on the table. That false ego, me, that ahankar, me, I, my, right? The false ego is what is stopping us from realizing that we are not the body, just a spirit. It took me 5 years to understand this. Seriously, I couldn't understand this. Then finally, I got it. Easy, right? Within 1 minute, you all got it. See how spiritualized you all are. Okay? What is the size of the soul? Remember, I explained to you 1/10,000, the tip of the hand. Very good. Where is the soul? Okay. This is the material body. You can be right. This is the material body. The soul is spiritual in nature. Therefore, you cannot put the soul in the X, Y, and Z coordinates. Sometimes they say it's around the heart area. Sometimes they say it's around the mind. It's somewhere there. Okay? But the Lord is in the heart. The Lord is in the heart. The Lord is with 4 hands. Just imagine. Paramatma is with 4 hands, standing on the lotus in our heart. There was once I had very bad chest pain. So I went to the, I just went. So, went to reference hospital, she said they started scanning the heart and all that. So the lady was, the radiographer or radiologist, asked her, can you see my soul? She said, yeah. I said, are you sure? She said, what are you asking? This is serving her. Can you see my soul? Anyway, so, yeah, Paramatma is in the heart. How big is the Paramatma? We will learn in the story of Parikshit Maharaj, right? Sometimes they say the size of the thumb, because Ashwatthama's nuclear weapon had gone into the womb of Uttara to burn the last descendant of the Pandavas. And then she shouted out to Krishna, please help me, So it was already like, killed the Parikshit Maharaj, but the Lord came back and revived him in the womb. And Parikshit, he could see it, he could examine. The Lord was like atom and going around like a tongue, his womb, protecting him. So some scriptures they say, some Bhagavatam says tongue, sometimes they say at the palm size. Something like that. Okay, how many of you have done gardening? It's inevitable. When you do gardening, you will see that earthworms, right? Sometimes you take that, you know what you call it? Spade, charcoal, we call it in Malay, right? And then you will see the poor earthworm is cut into 2 and they wriggle around. What happened? The 2 earthworms will continue to live. Do you know that? But if someone asks me the 2, Pradeep Kumar A and B doesn't live anymore. So what's so amazing about the earthworm? We also learned that the soul cannot be cut into 2. How do you explain this? All my last year students answer now. Give me confidence that whatever I'm teaching is going in and remaining. Exactly. Thank you very much. Get me confidence. Okay, so what happens is, when a poor earthworm is cut, Krishna has just designed the body of the earthworm in this way. It can multiply just by cutting it. Okay? When you cut it, there's already one soul existing, right? The second part, which is wriggling around, a soul from a neighboring atmosphere comes into it. How does material nature select that soul to go in? Comes back to your question. What was that person? What was that soul's karma? What was that soul's consciousness at the time of living? What was the prominent consciousness of this person, the activities? It's a very complex black box. I do not know what the complications are. And then finally, material nature under the jurisdiction of Goddess Durga will decide which is the soul which goes into this. Okay? That is why, in Hinduism, just 1 minute, just in Hinduism, even before the parents conceive a child, do you know there's this Garbha, what's it called? There's a prayers, to purify the womb and to invite a spiritual soul to actually come in. Yes. They do that. They will chant the Lord's name 50 rounds of the Maha Mantra. They will get into the right consciousness and then they will conceive the child. They do it. It's all very, very scientific, but we are born in a different climate altogether where it's hard for us to accept this. Okay. Ken, is the soul the same in all humans? Oh yeah, there was a question around.
I was just going to ask, so that means every time we split an earth, some other life form probably loses that physical body.
No. So, when a living entity leaves the material body or dies, the soul is just waiting for a body. Right? There is a short duration of time where it's waiting to go into another. It's not immediate. So if you want more information, you can read the Garuda Purana, which explains the entire detailed transmigration of the soul. Is the soul the same in all humans? Yes.
Say, doesn't remember the past activities where there are quite a lot of things moving around.
Very good question. Material nature somehow, when the child, okay, Bhagavatam 3.9, I think, explains this. Srimad Bhagavatam explains from the time the child is conceived, what happens in day 1, day 2. 2 weeks later, everything is explained until the 9th month. At the time when the mom is going to have the 25 years, my wife gave birth, I forgot all the terms. Yeah, whatever compression is that? Contractions. She's very smart. I went through all of this in this forgot. She would have also done. Anyway, so contractions. The child in the womb of the mother is crying. Oh Krishna, please get me out of this place because the worms are biting me. My mother is eating all this chili padi. It's also hurting me. And this prayer is there. Alright? Please take me out. And I promise you, I will never forget you. The unborn child is praying. The moment the child is born, because of the pain the mother goes through and the pain the child goes through, the child, material nature lets the child forget all of his past. But there are some instances where the child can remember. Anyone from Bangalore? There's an organization called NIPHANS, National Institute of Mental Health and Neuroscience. Was my customer those days. They have documented hundreds of cases of reincarnation. Kids being able to remember. Alright, go to Netflix today. You do a search on reincarnation, it will bring you to episode number 5 of this documentary, which has documented how this boy was able to remember who killed him. Okay? So sometimes the Lord will selectively not allow you to forget. Yes. Exactly. Abhimanyu. Would you like to say more about this? You know who is Abhimanyu? He died in the Chandru War in the Mahabharata.
He 6 months, other room has told everything, saying it hearing. When did he stop? He has forgot everything.
That was the time he was supposed to go back.
Actually, why he is not unable to come out of the technology.
So this is very, very scientific. There is also a professor in one of the US universities who has done extensive research on reincarnation. Okay, so is the soul the same in all humans? Huh? Yes, same. Okay. No difference. We are making differentiation based on our habits. They are all the same. What about in the animals? Also the same. It's no difference. Alright? So how can the knowledge of soul help us? We begin to see everyone as our brothers and sisters. There will not be these religious wars anymore. So, it's sad. Right? Look at all the small kids. So innocent they look, all of them. It's okay. Alright. So that's the first two lessons we have covered. Now lesson number 3. So Gita teaches us to be spiritual at all times. It doesn't mean that I need to be reading the Bhagavad Gita, I need to be doing Mangal Arati, I need to be chanting. No. We just need to somehow orchestrate our lives such that at work, when we have some free time, whatever earnings which we have, we use some parts of it in the service of the Lord. Right? All of that. We use our eyes to see the beautiful form of the Lord as the Archa Vigraha. We use our ears to listen Hari Katha or listen to Bhajan Kirtan. We use our legs to walk to the Lord's house, to the Lord's room. We use our hands in doing service, washing his utensils, preparing bhoga, offering to the Lord as prasad. It comes back to us. So that's the meaning of spiritualizing ourselves. So, we have two dharmas. One is the Swadharma and the other is Sanatana Dharma. Krishna is saying to Arjuna, what is this? You want to run away to the Himalayas? You forget that you have your family. You have a commitment to your society. Who is going to do all of this? You remain and fight the war. That is Swadharma. Your obligations to our parents, to our children, etc. Even bringing up our child is devotional service. Yes. It is devotional service. Why? Because you are wanting him or her to become a nice devotee of the Lord. Right? And serve others and serve the Lord. That is devotional service. Don't agree? Yeah. So, having children, bringing them up in the right way. But you will realize that when they reach the teenage years, there's a bit of rebellion will come with them. I've gone through all of this. My daughters will tell us, what is this for? My whole classmates are eating meat. Why we should be vegetarian? No. Not easy. Raffles and PK makes them explain to them. Not easy. Why Krishna? Why every time temple? Last year I took them for a vacation. I told them we are going to go to Govardhan Eco Village near Mumbai. The older one, she sends this guy out to something. She quickly did a search. Govardhan Eco Village is temple. He's lying us. He's cheating us. But when they went there, they said that was the best holiday. If you are going to Mumbai, I would recommend you just 1 hour drive away. It's a place called Govardhan Eco Village. Essentially, the devotees of Krishna, they have built a beautiful, like a nice oasis, which is exactly Vrindavan replicated here, but without anyone messing with it. It's so beautiful, so peaceful. And you can do your yoga, your sound therapy, everything is like modernized. So beautiful. So I took them there. Right? So otherwise, and as parents, we need to be a bit of flexible. So if your daughter tells you or son tells you, "Mommy, I want to go to the movie, why not?" What will you do? You'll be there? There. It's okay. Take them. We need to spend time with them, because the external world is spending more time with them. So it's important for us to do this. Take them for the movie, it's okay. Sometimes when we become religious or spiritual, we become like so black and white. This is wrong. This is correct. Flexibility. Krishna is very understanding. God is very understanding. Right, Madhuri? So a little bit of flexibility is fine. So that's our responsibility of family, friends, and society. So Bhagavad Gita explains that Krishna is saying to Arjuna, you do your duty, but do not be attached to the results. It's not easy, in today's corporate world. Do your duty, but don't be attached to the KPI and all that. Right? So essentially what Krishna is saying is, yes, you know what the goal is. You give your best of your capability, your ability. Don't leave any stone unturned. But don't be attached to, yes, I must win. Because when you don't win, then depression can set. Right? Tell yourself, success is not in the achievement. Success is in the doing. It's a paradigm shift. For us, for Westerners, for Indians, for us, the thought of Bhagavad Gita is about the soul, etc. But when this Bhagavad Gita was brought to the Western world, this was the biggest thing for them. They realized that, wow, it is not about achieving, it is about doing. It's about the process, being adherent to the process. That is what is most important. Because you know what? We are not the doer. We are just one third the doer. I can give my very, very, very best. But if it's orchestrated such that I will not get it, I will not get it. Remember, we are just one third. Right? The other two decision makers are the Lord in our heart. Will first and foremost say, this person, whether does he have the right karma? Right? For example, I I pass, this kampung area next to the beach side, so beautiful bungalow houses. And I'm like, wow, I want to stay in one of these bungalow houses. So nice. Bungalow by the sea, a 70-inch TV, 100 megabyte, 100 gigabyte MP3, home jazz and used to have. Then suddenly I leave this body. Now, my desire was to stay in the big house. But I have not earned that punya. I have not done enough to earn the right to stay in that house. Okay? So that Paramatma in the heart will say, oh, this one only 50%. Huh? Maybe make him the helper in the house. Yes, it works like this. Or maybe 20% only.
Making the doggy.
Exactly. Maybe 10% make him a mouse in the house. 100% yes. Let him stay in the house. But the moment all this positive karma is exhausted, then what happens? Alright, so there is a shelf life for all of this. There's a shelf life for positive karma. It's so scientific, isn't it? That's the amazing thing about our scriptures. It is so sad when we as parents do not share this with our kids and our kids adopt another religion. It's sad actually. Because this is jewels which we are not able to share with them because we do not know it ourselves. There was one parent who came and was so upset. My daughter did this. I said, what did you do to her? You were not interested yourself. So it's important that, every question can be answered by our scriptures. From dinosaur all the way to them. Everything can be actually answered. The question is whether we take an interest in them. Alright, so Sanatan Dharma. Remember, while we are doing all of this Swadharma, we still have our constitutional system. Oh, the third one. The third one, very good. The third entity is material nature under Goddess Durga, she will then orchestrate that this person does. That's why she's called Jagat Janani. Okay? We desire, the Lord will approve, and then material nature takes over to make it happen. Can you imagine what our monkeys must have done in the last life? And they are very smart. I tell you, they are very, very smart. In everything they do, they actually give it back to society. They give it back. Yeah, it was so much. Give it back to the temples and they call all the Sakaracharya and all that to the weddings. Smart. Okay. So, Sanatana Dharma is to remember our ultimate goal, which is our relationship with the God. That's our constitutional position of the soul. We have forgotten this. The other bird, as Paramatma, is just watching when will this rascal look at me. Lifetime after lifetime, I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting. She's not looking at me. Hey, it's the sole failure of it. But do you know we are all females? All the men seated separately, they are all females also. I'll tell you why. Mirabai, she went to this great personality and she said, she told the disciples of this personality, I want to become this Guru Maharaj's disciple. Please bless me. Please inform Guruji that I want to become his disciple. The disciples told Mirabai, we know your credentials, your credibility, etc. But Guru Maharaj does not see these. So he came and told Meera. Meera said, what is your Guru saying about ladies? I thought we are all female. The only Purush. Everyone else is material. So everyone is actually a female. There's only one. That is why there's one division of Christianity where all the nuns will wear a ring, on their right or left finger, ring finger. They said they are married to the Lord. He's the only husband. The rest of us are all the same. So let's deep philosophy now. Don't today you all go back and tell your husband you are also female. Or husbands tell the wife, I'm also a female. That's all very deep philosophy. Very good. So essentially they are saying, what Mirabai is saying, we are all servants of the Lord. That is our constitutional position. We are servants of the Lord. We are here supposed to serve Him. Everything is given to Him given to us by Him. And yet we think it's ours. Everything we came with zero. We'll also go with zero. In between we get a lot. Everything is actually His. Okay? That is the constitutional position of a living entity. We have forgotten our spiritual father because we wanted to enjoy independently from him. Therefore, he built this material world. Enjoy as much as you can. The moment you start believing what your constitutional position is, then you will start coming. So, that is our ultimate goal of life. Ultimate goal of life is to reach Lord. A human being should realize the aim of his life, and this direction is given in all Vedic literatures, and the essence is given in Bhagavad Gita. What is the goal of my life eventually? Not to become CEO, not to become grandfather, not to become, these are all okay, but there's an ultimate purpose. The Japanese has a nice name for it also. They said for them the purpose is your dharma, what naturally comes to you. If you can make money out of it, if this service is needed by the population, then it's called ikigai kind of thing. But we bring it a notch further. We all have our aspirations in life. We all want to achieve something tangible in life, but in our pursuits, we overlook an essential aspects of human life. That we are all spirit souls, and we all have an intricate relationship with God, where this human life provides a chance to rekindle our lost connection with God. The poor doggy cannot do this. Only in the human body are we given the chance to reconnect. The poor cat doesn't know what's the difference. Cat only knows fish. Dog only knows bone. But humans are given this body to remember the Lord. If we don't use it, then it's a wasted investment. And the fact that you all are investing time to learn about the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, in this endeavor there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on the path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Essentially, what Krishna is saying is, the moment you try to take one step towards, let's say today I read the Bhagavad Gita, I do some kirtan, I associate with the right people. But you know what? Tomorrow I become deep in Maya again. Krishna says, okay. My next life, I'm at least guaranteed a human form. Because at least there was one instance which I used to reconnect with the Lord. Next life I come back, wherever I have stopped, I continue from there. That is why you look at all the children down there. Why is it that they take up to spirituality so easily compared to fools like us, like me? Children sometimes they take up, you realize, wow, it's so spiritual because they started from a different paradigm compared to us. So they are bigger, more spiritual souls compared to us. Okay? Okay. Time check. 20 minutes. Any questions? It's good, very interactive. I have a lot of questions. The ladies are asking, the boys are a little quiet. So when to Sanatana, either Sanatana Goswami or Rupa Goswami. This was such Mirabai Goswami. Is in the Parampara. We are reading Mirabai. Every time you go to India, try to reconnect. Reconnecting is very important. And when you go to a spiritual place, don't just like mark attendance. Because when we go there, we should absorb the energy over there. We should listen to Hari Katha over there. We should chant. We should immerse ourselves into their dharma. Otherwise, it's like taking a bitter gourd from Singapore, going through all this dam, putting in the water, and then come back to Singapore, it's still bitter. No transformation happens. Transformation must happen. End of November, I'm bringing a small group to Rishikesh and to Ayodhya. I just came back from Jagannath Puri last week at the Rath Yatra. It was an amazing experience. So Saturday I gave a class to the Gurus here, and then Sunday early morning I took a flight. And then Tuesday I came back. So India has so much to offer. So remember, when you go to this place, it's not marking attendance. But do you really have to go to this place? It's great. Our house can also become one. Because Vrindavan is a state of consciousness. Apart from the Dham, our house can also be Vrindavan. Our house can also be Buddha. Our house can also be Hindu. Yeah, it's important. It's a state of consciousness. So remember, anything which we do is never wasted. Even if we cannot perfect it, we will be born into a devotee family. Human life is confirmed. Devotee family is confirmed so that we can continue from where we start. If we do not reconnect with the Lord, because that's our constitutional dharma, then we are like a fish out of water. We will just not feel the real taste of life. What am I doing? Just working, working, working. Then what's the purpose? What's the meaning of life? It's like this fish, You can give it hamburger, you can give it cigarettes, etc. But the poor fish needs water. Just like us, we need to be reconnected, then we will feel fulfilled. Otherwise, we are like a fish out of water. You can give the fish anything. It is just temporary. One puff, excitement, and then I need the water after that. So, Krishna also says that this material world is full of difficulties. Right? There are three major types of difficulties. We need to overcome this kind of difficulties in the material world. Number one is Adi Daivika, miseries from nature. Right? Suddenly Singapore 40 degrees, so hot. India 52 degrees, so hot. Tsunami, all of these are from material nature. Adi Bhautika, miseries from other beings. Husband, wife, mother-in-law. You ask my wife. Right? Miseries from other beings. And Adi Atmika, miseries from the body and the mind. Right? Birth, death, old age, disease, I tell you. My poor wife didn't come, otherwise she would have been back to Southern. She's got so bad spur on her. Oh, she can't walk. She just went yesterday for, just for a regular appointment. When she came out of the bed, the clinic, she felt something was not right. And then she continued to walk. Now she's on a walking stick already. It's so bad. That is Atmika. Body will give us all these feelings. So you see, this is a very, very difficult world. Our aim, our purpose should not be to come back into this material world again and again. Right? It's a difficult place, but remember, just like the air conditioning is not strong, the fan is not working properly, we need to somehow tolerate this in this world. One who is not disturbed in spite of these threefold miseries, who is not elated when there is happiness and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a stage of steady mind. Then it's like, even if something great happens according to what we want, we will not be overly joyful. We are like regulated. When something really bad happens, we have full faith that the Lord knows why. I do not know it yet, but in time to come, it will be revealed to me. Right? So once someone reaches that state, it's called a sage of steady mind. Because he has full faith in the Lord. Just like the child has full faith in the mother. You read this book, The Road Less Traveled by M. Scott Peck. He says exactly this. Life is difficult. It's a great truth. One of the greatest truths. It's a great truth because once we truly see the truth, we transcend it. Once we begin to accept that, yes, this is the difficulty, then we begin to accept it, we actually transcend it. Once we truly know that life is difficult and we truly understand and accept it, then life is no longer difficult. Because once it's accepted, the fact that life is difficult no longer. We need to train our mind that happiness is a state of the heart, it's a state of the mind. So this is Dukhalayam, a place of misery, because it is temporary. Right? Just because there are conditions of misery in the world, you don't have to stay miserable. We need to understand that everything happens for a reason. Right? So the goal of taking to meditation, chanting, praying is to really feel real happiness, which is possible only when we give up this lower form of pleasures. Okay, time check. We all want to stop here. What's the time? 15 more minutes. Maybe we can do a bit more. Any more questions? Yes.
Everything happens for free.
Yeah.
And sometimes we like, maybe this is happening to me because of some trauma I did in my past. So is it okay to wear all the miserable things and clothes? Is it okay to keep quiet and keep wearing all the things and clothes?
So the quality of the soul is also assertiveness. Alright? Krishna tells Arjuna, fight for your rights. Right? So there are times when you have to make it clear that I will not simply tolerate and be allow things to happen to me. Right? That's the meaning of assertiveness. And we need to understand this thing that the earth school is giving me a message. Alright? Something is happening. Shall I take a time out and ask myself, what can I do about this? What lesson can I learn from this? What can I do so that this will not happen again? At the same time, can I pray to the Lord that, oh Lord, if you so desire, please remove all my anger. If the Lord so desire, He can do this. What is great? What is nothing for Him. So that should be our prayer to the Lord. I know that this is happening. Right? It's not easy. My wife, she's a very spiritual person. I can wake up late, but she will always wake up early to do for Mangal Arati. You know? And she told herself, this must be my bad karma. Right? I said, no, it's not bad karma. Maybe we have put on a little bit extra weight. We need to do something about this. What is the earth school teaching us? Don't straight away go to karma. You know? We can play the karma card with ourselves, but we should never play the karma card with anyone else. This is not right. It's between the Lord and that person. With ourselves, yes, we can say, oh, maybe I've done something. This person is coming to me as a postman. So, remember, ask myself, what can I do about this? What can I learn from this episode? What can I do to change it next time so that it doesn't happen? So, Krishna has given that intelligence to us. When I was at the Rathi Yatra, I could clearly see this is going to be a stampede. I will not blindly, oh, Krishna will protect me and just go into it. That's stupidity already. Krishna has given us that intelligence to draw the line. Use your intelligence. I gave you this. If you cannot even use this, then is that my right to be here? You know, sometimes we need to know where to draw the line. There was a stampede. One guy died, many were terribly injured. And I brought 3 Chinese ladies who are devotees of Krishna. One Muslim girl who became a devotee of Krishna. My wife and I said, this. I said, no, this. And you know, it was so nice. It was 1.4 million people in a 3-kilometer stretch. So bad, I can show you the videos. I told my wife, we must get out of this, otherwise we will be crushed. I just saw this hotel with a vegetarian restaurant. I just gave a corn story to the guard that we have a reservation we went to. We went in, we sat in the restaurant for 2-3 hours until the chariot actually started. And then, like a capo, I just went to the second floor of the hotel to see if I could see from outside. When I went to the second floor, I met 3 of my friends there. And they told me, yes, you bring your whole gang up. Krishna is so kind, he orchestrated. I went into that building without even knowing anyone would be there. Tried to spend some time and stay away from the crowd. We just went to the second floor and we had a nice darshan. And this time around, because I was teaching in the class here, I could not go to Rath Yatra earlier. I went on the actual day of the Rath Yatra. And then I learned that this is the first time in 53 years that the Rath Yatra cannot start at 12 o'clock. It has to start only at 5 o'clock because of the astrological timings and all that. And therefore, if it starts at 5, it has to stop at 6. The Rath can only move 100 meters. And therefore, the Rath has to continue the next day. So the next day, we were free to actually go down because 70% of the population had to be there. So we could go down and do it. But it's not always good. Doesn't always work. How? So we continuously ask the Lord, I am grateful to you for the good things which have come by. For the bad things, which the so-called bad things, we tell the Lord that because I'm your devotee, it could have been worse. But you just gave me a sampler of this. Please help me. Please help me that this does not happen. Please reduce my karma. Please tell me what I should do about this. The mind will, the Lord as Paramatma will help us. He just need to help us. It's not easy. It takes time. Yeah. It's not easy. Like, yeah. One of my good friends, right, he's a temple resident in Malacca. He lost his son for my reason. It's like, seeing the Lord on his own. It's not easy. No? You need that fortitude. No, otherwise, how? These guys. And I went to see him in Malacca. And he told me, my spiritual name is Padmalochan Krishna. Padma Prabhu. If not for the Bhagavad Gita, I would have just lost my effort. You know? He says, if not for Krishna, the Bhagavad Gita, I would have just walked away. I can see why this is. Sometimes, time is very difficult. It's not easy. You just pray to the Lord that everything goes as we want. Like something doesn't go well, it's like, we just pray. Because it's a material, it's temporary. I remember, I was 17 years old. Just from secondary school, Victoria School, went to junior college. My father went to India for a holiday and he never came back. He passed away in India. And that was the time I became a little bit spiritual and religious, full of energy and all that. And I stopped worshipping the Lord for 2 years. How can you dare to do this to me? And I beg to you and all normal Hindi movie. I realized I was stupid. At that point in time, you don't realize it, but somehow it's like pain. But as time goes by, now how many months that I have, I even forget that I even existed. Sadly, this is life. Remember, Earth School is always telling us something. What can we learn from this? Tell the Lord, try to reduce our karma if you so desire. And don't be shy to ask Him. If we don't ask Him, who do we ask? At the same time, know that by asking Him again and again and again and again, we are also spiritualizing ourselves. And we will ask, we'll reach a stage, we will be like this Indian lady in this village where she has just piled up a huge pack of sticks, burning wood. She put it on her head. Huge, have you seen? Sometimes huge, how they balance it on the head, they are walking. And then she tripped and she fall. She hurt her knee. The whole tied up pack of sticks, this abbey. She shouted, Krishna! Krishna came. And asked her, what do you want? What can I do for you? Please put all the sticks back onto my head. Is that what we are asking the Lord? To put us back into this material world again, so I went burn the wood, etc. Right? So always remember Dhruva Maharaj's instruction to players. What was I asking for? I was asking for broken pieces of glass. The Lord gave me a huge diamond. What else do you want to ask? Yes. So you see, a question was.
And I think that on you ask, you may not be given, you could be given. It could not happen. What is happening is very close.
You will be in a certain place in life where you will say that, whatever I asked for, whenever you have given me, I know, wow, it was for a good reason. And whenever I did not get it, it was also for a good reason that I didn't get it. And therefore, it's like, I don't even have to ask you. You know what I need, what is best for me. That was exactly your point. So that's the level 0, level 1, level 2. She's post-graduate. Post-doctoral. It takes a lot of time. So it's a nice segue to bring with these prayers.
As you say, it takes a lot of time. It's a transformation that stage. But sometimes we can one step forward and go 10 steps backward also, right? Depending on the chapter in our life. We may reach a point where we say, Lord, whatever is, I will be done. Then sometimes something really knocks us off, and then we go tapping on, it's like asking him again for the bundle was fixed. Is that possible? I think that's not a big question in a spiritual part, right? It's just, again,
Very good point. It's all dependent on the ecosystem of support which we have. If we do not have a strong devotee circle with us, difficult. The devotee association is like boarding a Mumbai train. Right? How do you come out of a Mumbai train? You just have to park yourself near to the exit. Soon you will come out. That is what the devotees will do. Because they have bhakti in them, they can also do it. That association, that satsang is so important. So coming back to Prabhu's question about Bharat. Bharat went to the Himalayas. Alright? No satsang, all by himself. He saw this female deer go. Running because she's chased by a lion or tiger, I do not know. And then she galloped up a stream. She got into labor. She gave birth. She died. The child, the baby was there. The tiger, I think, went away. He took care of the deer. And his mind continuously tell him that focus on the Swadharma. Forget about the Sanatana Dharma. The mind kept on telling him that looking after the deer is the most important thing. Right? Everything, feeding the deer, looking after. He forgot what was the purpose of him going to the Himalayas. At the time of death, he was crying. Who is going to be looking after the deer? He thinks he's the doer. And therefore, the next life he was born as the deer. But God is so kind. God allowed this special deer to remember all of his life. The deer then died eventually, but this time around the soul migrated into a human body. This human who was born in a nice devotee family but he behaved like a dog because he did not want what. It was not a devotee. He did not want that sangha. Alright, but he knew that I need to come out of this. Right? So he orchestrated his whole life learning the scriptures but just acting like a blur. Until one day the king was going in the forest and the king guards, yeah, the palanquin, the guards saw this guy, told him, please come and help us to carry the king's palanquin. So then he went like that. He was like jumping and jumping while carrying the palanquin. The king became very angry. Why are you doing this? He says, you do not know that they are souls of them. They are poor ends. How can I kill them in your service? The king also became this Bharat, Jada Bharat. He went back to the spiritual. So, I do not know. Anyway, the segue I wanted to get to was Kunti Maharani. Huh? Time check. Huh? Things are already ready. Next week we will start from here. Okay? Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki.